We are live. We're gonna go live on 2 platforms at the same damn time. So we're gonna get Instagram going. We are live on 2 platforms. We got YouTube and the Gram at the same damn time. All right, so we're gonna do a nice analysis. Right, we got the charts pulled up. Yes, indeed. We're going to go over a few stocks. We're going to go over this entire market. Things has been crashing, things has been going up, and then things has been crashing again. So we got a lot of things going on. Let's pull up the chart on YouTube because got to make sure that YouTube knows what's going on. Sharing that. Bow. So YouTube should be able to see my entire screen. And you guys are now able to see my entire screen. Well, I'm going to try to make sure I keep it all in the same frame. But we got the good old SPY. All right. And we got a bunch of stocks that we could look at. We ain't going to look at all of them, but we're going to just do some digging for some gems. All right, we got the 4-hour chart. This is our preferred time frame for just browsing through the charts because we get a good analysis of the short term and the overall. So that gives us an advantage in terms of speed and all of that good stuff when it comes to going through a list like this. Got a few. This is maybe about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if I take an average, say that's like another 10, it's 20, it's like 30. So Lulu, we got 40, about 50, about 60, 70, anywhere from about 70, 80 stocks on this list alone. These are the hottest stocks that move most likely every day. So we're going to cover that as well. So let's go back to YouTube world real quick. This is my Discord. In case you guys are not in, you guys could get in for free with the link in the bio, and then you're gonna have access to a lot of good tips, and you could even get a free trading book right there and learn a lot of basics to get started. But we're gonna go right back to the good old charts. This is the SPY. I have a nice tool that I could use. Right? How you like this? Right? I could draw stuff, right? But specifically what I just drew was this beautiful supply zone that we got there. Now, what we're looking at is the SPY 4-hour time frame. That is important to know. Let me get this out the way. And what happened, right? So the market pushed up. This is like 698. And then it had a huge move down to about 674. Then it had a huge move up, right? Same area, 696. And then huge move down. Now, am I just going to continue just saying, oh, it went up and went down? It went up and went down. Yeah. But I'm going to also locate some gems that we could utilize to make money along the way, because this is how we make money as traders, is by looking at the past. So we have a good chance at predicting the future based on proven patterns that we've studied. All right. So this right here is an important zone. This is called a supply zone. We just dragged it all the way over because situations like this happens where after this move down, the market likes to retrace back up, and we're expecting a move back down, but we just don't know where the market is going to top at as we're going up. So that's why we like to draw stuff like this, because this box gave us a nice area that is pretty accurate for indicating where the top of this move down could possibly happen, right? This is really accurate. You can see how we use the top, that red candle. We got the green candle involved, and that gave us a nice opportunity to see where the market could start heading down. Now, that's not the only box you guys see on this SPY 4-hour time frame, because we also have another box that we drew here, but it started from this area. Why? Because the market moved down. Then the market eventually came back to the same area, which is where we could have gotten an opportunity for the market to go down again, in which the market came right back up to the same area and gave us another opportunity to make money as the market is going back down. So are we just here to just see all the chances that we could have made money and how we could have made money? Yeah, pretty much, right? So, but also we're gonna add in some more details, more clues to how we could predict this situation to happen again. So we're just keeping it basic, and you don't need that much tools to analyze and understand what's going on. All you really need to know is trend mechanics, right? AKA trend basics, which is trend highs, trend lows. And that's what we're looking at. Steve is in the building. What's going on? You're looking at trend highs and trend lows. That's the trend highs. Notice it's getting lower. Trend lows are getting lower and lower. Right. So if this right here is a lower high than this one and this one, right? And then the lower lows are responding, lower lows, that tells us we're in a downtrend. And if it showed it to us once, twice, 3 times, and it continues to show it to us with another lower high, what do you think is going to happen to the next low? Do you think it's going to be higher, or do you think it's going to be lower than the previous low? And if I'm just not trying to be a genie and not trying to guess, I'm going to use simple trend mechanics and say we're going to go lower than this previous low, which is right now, it looks like about 669. So anything lower than that would be 668 and lower. So we could end up in the 650s. So it could go 659 and lower. And if that was to happen, let's take a look at what levels are in that area. Now, this is a huge space that we have here. Huge space. If we break through this level, right? Which level am I talking about? This one here. So being that we zoomed out, we're able to see the previous lows, right? Now, ever since this support level was formed, huge bounce up. Came back down. Huge bounce up again. Came back down. Nice bounce up, right? It didn't have that huge bounce like before. Let's zoom in and let's get straight to the point. What I'm trying to say is that we're forming lower highs into an area where we already showed we took a lot of so-called liquidity away from. So what does that mean in layman's terms? Say if you had 100 million orders, specifically buy orders, right? Buyers, right here, then anytime the market gets to this level and reacts in that upward motion, we're pretty much taking away buy orders. These are sellers coming down to this level to take some buys. It's like you're going to shop for some houses, and every seller is looking for a buyer. Shout out to Chafer in the building. Believe he's into real estate. So we got the real estate terms going on, right? 50 million buyers just got taken up. So now there's 50 million left. But then look, we just came back down another time. Let's say we grabbed 25 million. Now we got 25 million left, but we just made a lower high and we came right back into this level. And what if we need more than 25 million? And that means we're going to be in a negative. That means we could possibly go down. And that's how this whole thing could go down, right? Just by reading these highs and lows, you could do a lot of understanding of what's going on. So this is the previous low that we got here. This is at 650 and below. So 640 something. We could draw for days, right? We could just do a bunch of random drawings, but this is technically also a range that we have here. So price usually likes to just go from the bottom to the top of ranges. So this already topped out once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. The least we could do is travel back down towards this area, which is the bottom of this range, which is in the 650s area. So we got a lot of reasons for the market to go down based on the lower highs, based on this range being respected. We are also under this good old EMA. So we're using all of our tools, and all of our tools is telling us a lot of different things, especially our volume, right? So we can't forget that it's increasing, letting us know we got some activity towards the downsides, right? This activity here on volume is telling us that, right, it's low. This move up was pretty low, so it's looking more like a fake out. That's how we're able to tell the difference between what's real and what's fake, right? That's what we want to know, right? What's real and what's fake. And you can see the volume increasing as the market is going down. That's giving us real, right? No BBLs in this situation. But over here, it's inflated, right? This is real. This is fake. Why? This is low volume. This is high volume. High volume, high probability. Low volume, low probability. All right. So a lot of squiggling, a lot of squaggling, but this is all making sense because we understand what's going on due to these supply zones. Supply zones give us opportunities to make money on the way down. Demand zones allow us to make money on the way up. Reading the EMAs gives us opportunities to know the trend. Lower highs gives us the opportunity to know the trend. Lower lows, same thing. Volume allows you to understand the pressure that's being applied into these candlesticks, either up or down. And then we put these time frames together, so I could just zoom on out and see what's going on from the weekly and see how much cleaner this action gets. You could see we're in a pretty high uptrend. You could see how far we actually traveled on up before we're making a slight little tiny little pullback. So that could also justify why we have more room to come down, and while the market or the news might be making it look like we're having the worst situation ever, this could be a good opportunity for a lot of people to make some good money, right? And technically, it's pretty natural, right? This is just a natural situation, expecting a small pullback from this huge move back up. So Sweet Steph says, "What are you trading?" I am trading good old SPY. And honestly, the SPY, I'm one of those that likes to trade a lot of different things. But based on the recent activity, the SPY has been providing a lot of, it's been enough, especially if you're trading futures. It's been a lot of opportunities. So if we just zoom on into the 15 minute, I'm gonna just show you guys what I was looking at for this entire week. So this is what I shared in my Discord. Yeah, this is right. This is it right here. So this is the range we've been looking at all week. So this is what has been justifying the moves up and down in my analysis. So you can see moves of support in this area, very clean moves. You can see resistance, you can see resistance. So this is every day you're getting big moves up, big moves down, and a lot of people's getting whacked out, but you got to just have different moves ready. For example, like I was telling one of my clients, like you got to come in with different moves to be able to trade this market, right? You could come in with karate, and karate might work for certain fighters, but we coming at this MMA style, right? Mixed martial arts, different styles, right? So sometimes we're using supplies, sometimes we're using support, sometimes we're using trend lines, sometimes we're using EMAs, right? Because if somebody come in knowing jujitsu, then you might lose because you don't know what jujitsu moves look like. So we prepared for any market situation, but you got to be able to read the situation with the right tools and apply the right things in order to understand what's going on. So you got the trend lines working sometimes, and then other times you got the support levels working, right? You can see how it bounce, right? Because it broke out of this trend line, held it, and then started making moves down. And then you can see in this situation, we're now using this EMA as a resistance, and that is setting it off for the downtrend to the downside along with this volume to justify this move down. So uh, MD says why the EMA versus the SMA. The SMA is simple moving average, and the EMA is exponential. So the SMA is like very simple, you know, obviously in the name, but what the difference from the exponential is that the exponential has velocity applied to it, which is like an extra factor that the SMA doesn't have. So simple is like simple math. So since the moving average is the average, right? Say if it's 1 + 3 + 5, and they're just taking the average of all those numbers, but EMA takes it takes into consideration that at three might have more volume or velocity than one, and five might have, whatever amount, while SMA is still taking the 1, 3, and the 5, and they're just saying they're all equal. They're all the same. So EMA is more adaptive to the price action than the SMA. So imagine like a missile, and you shoot a missile and it just goes straight, versus a different missile, and the missile is tracking the target as it's moving at the same. So I like the adaptiveness of the EMA versus just the straight average of a SMA, right? So EMA is kind of like a smart moving average in a way, because it's taking into consideration the velocity of the moves. I want to say it's either the velocity or the volume, but those are both accurate measurements that the EMA takes into it factors it into the average. So when you do back testing, you're able to see that the EMA respects the price respects the EMA a lot closer or more accurate than the SMA in a lot of situations on an overall standpoint. There's both, the situation where they both react pretty good. But I like the EMA because is better for momentum trading. SMA might work better for just maybe standard investing or where you're more position trading, but they're both pretty good. But yeah, that's me. You know, I can't give my simple answers too much. I always go into a lot of detail, but let's get into just one target that we could say the SPY could probably hit. So we're gonna just take a look at the chart and just look to the left. We can see here that's a low. So this is about 664. Zoom back in. Let's grab our little price tool and then let's just hit a nice support line right there. I kind of drew it a little bit off, but 664, that's what it is. And then this low here is 649. 649. So, and then we got nice little minor situations in between there. You got some demand zones if I zoom on in, but this here is 662. Demand zone. This is the real one. 650 something, man. 650 low 650s, man. We could drop. I'm not gonna lie, right? Like Snoop Dogg said, drop it like it's hot. It's summertime, starting to warm up. I don't know what the weather is, but I could go outside with a hoodie out in New York and be just fine. But 654 and 650, 649 on the SPY. This is the 4 hour. Now, we move on to the stocks. PLTR. This has been one of the hottest stocks. All right, just one of them. And while the stock market has been ranging, has been up and down, PLTR has been on a nice trend on up. Pretty simple above this 50 EMA, which is the yellow line. And it's been making higher highs, higher lows as it's been moving on up. And in one day, it went from 149 up to 161, while the market has been having trouble pushing up. So this is showing you a lot of strength from PLTR. And where could it head to next? Where could it head to next? Well, the highs is at 207 on this weekly chart. And we just used this previous area here as support. This was resistance. So you can see this has a reason for us to push on up. And this is one of the hottest ones. So PLTR, keep that on your map. Next level up technically is 165. Then you got 171. So be careful. We could pull back, but that's why you would use your lower time frames to make sure you know where we could pull back to and how you could take advantage of calls and puts in between those moves. But I'd probably stick with the trend on PLTR. I wouldn't mess with it too much unless you're scalping. So USO, this is the one. This is United States oil. Good old oil. If you need an oil change, this is your reminder. Taking care of the oil. So, you know, there's a whole thingamajig where they want us to go to electric, everything electric, right? Electric vehicle, electric this and that. Well, they need reasons, right? And one good reason, right, whether it's created reasons or just random reasons that just happen, the price of oil has been surging, right? And I called this out about like 3 weeks ago. It was on like some Instagram post that said, "Hey, what's the price? I mean, what's the best thing to invest in since everything is crashing?" And you know, crypto market's crashing, everything's crashing. But one thing about just understanding the market environment and the overall agenda of those people, right? Them is you understand what the play is likely to be, right? So knowing that they would love for everything to be electric, you know, they want to control. Why not use electric to control everything, right? So I'm with the whole Venezuela situation. The price of oil actually went down, And what I believe is they had to do that because they want to send it up. And it seems opposite to what we think, right? Why would you send the market down, right? If you want the price to go up. Well, that's why, because they want to uh, have the ability to liquidate their orders, meaning the ability to put a lot of money inside the market, right? And they also want to shake a lot of people out in order to do it, right? And then they eventually decide to make huge moves like this, which is from about 80, 70 something dollars to $113 within just 1 week, right? So the price of oil is the hottest market right now. Um, I mean, there's a lot to say, but it's also very a simple story, but also a complex story. Depends on how deep you want to go down the rabbit hole. And you could just see from the technical aspect, it's been respecting the 9 EMA as support. And when there's very strong runners, this is the usual case, right? The shorter term EMA is telling you, hey, we have a chance for this to be a hot one. Why? Because it's respecting the support levels. And I teach this in my course of what it looks like for price candles to respect levels, because it could be very tricky to understand it in certain situations. But something as simple as drawing like the high of day or the low of day could let you know, hey, anything that happens in between this range, expect it to be choppy until we get above, right? Like you see this candle here is the first one, and that gives you the signal that we could be moving on to the next moon and just continue, moving on. Shout outs to the lunar eclipse that just happened, I think a couple of days ago, third. So we could also be moving down from this range. So that's something to be careful about. But in this case, we moved on up and we continue to hold this 9 EMA, and we continue to make new highs. And one big thing to notice is check out the volume, super low, super low. It's like, doesn't even exist. And then out of nowhere, boom. Could have spotted this when the price was at about $90, and it kept on moving on up because it's at 113. So what is the best market to invest in, being that everything is so called crashing? It has been proven to be US oil due to its about 30+% increase within just the past month, right? And this is just a little explanation of how the price moved and how it reacted into some of the news. So Venezuela was one reason. Now you got Iran war situation, creating more demand or supply limitation for oil, and that is creating the price rally that we're seeing. All right, so that's the one. Being that we have this huge surge, you could play this in futures, you could play this in options using USO. Let's take a look. If you just go to trade, and these are the options for USO. This is the expiration for 11, which would be in a few days. Um, well, we can just see how cheap this will be to get at the strike. I mean, cheap or expensive at the strike, at the money right now. I mean, it says 108, but the after hour price is 113. So 113 is $5.30. You'll be paying $500 and $30. $530. You would just click that, and then you just verify the buy one contract on USO with the expiration date, and the buying a call for that price, and it's a limit order, meaning that you're going to get that price and that price only. And if you don't, then you won't get filled. And you just hit confirm and send for that order to go through, and then that would take care of whatever you want to do. And this is the put side, and that's in case you want to bet on the market going down to whatever one of these prices. And that's stuff that exists inside of my course as well. I just teach how to place and how to understand option trades, and how to understand the price action, because before you push the button, you want to understand what all this random stuff is, right? You're like a kid in a candy store. We just want to push buttons most of the time because it's the grown man's candy over here, which is the money. You always have opportunity to make more. So it's very the challenge is to control the emotions. That's what it is. And emotions is affecting the thinking and the thoughts, right? And those thoughts is what we act on. So it's a cycle, and we're gonna talk more about that in our one of our YouTube videos. But we're gonna keep it going with this YouTube stream of stocks. So PLTR, USO, silver is doing its thing, gold is doing its thing. Um, let me see. So these are some stocks that has been up, right? Costco, I feel like Costco is a good one that likes to move up when the market is in a downtrend, because everybody needs food, and the same way how you say the world needs oil or energy is the same way how we need energy too, right? We got to eat. And Costco is one of those stores that likes to feed people. And you can see this huge move on up. This is the 4-hour chart here. Like, this is insane, from 960 to 1000 in one day. And it's showing you that this level of support that I have drawn is holding that support, 970. Now, where could the price go? And what does this make? What does this mean? Right? Like, what is happening right now? So on the 4-hour chart, it's a little tough to understand the overall picture. So I'm gonna zoom out. So we're going to the one W, which is weekly. This entire chart is crazy. So we're just gonna switch the drawing, and what I'm seeing here. All right, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a big move up. All right, and then I'm seeing this move down, which is a pullback, is what I would guess it is, right? The reason why I'm guessing is because I mean it could just crash down from this point, and what looks like a pullback was actually a reversal. So you just got to be careful with our terminology that we don't know, but there's certain things we know. We know this here was a rally up. This is a pullback at the moment, and if it's a pullback, that means that the next push is likely to be higher, right, than its previous high. So if that's the situation that if we're gonna go higher and this is a pullback, I want to verify this, right? We want to put on our magnifying glass and look to see if there's anything telling us that we could go higher, such as, are we seeing levels like this holding up as support, right? That's our work as traders. And what I could do here is just draw. That's where we want to be an artist. All right. We want to just do a lot of drawing every single day to perfect our artistic skills. And then we use that to make money. But before we get to the money part, we got to create a process for ourselves. And this process looks like analyzing candles, but all this is happening in your head, right? So we got to make sure our decision making is solid, because if we hesitate, we might miss the money. You might make some mistakes. So what that looks like is having a solid plan, just like a workout plan, to make sure that we know what we're doing. My face just randomly popped up. But I figured you guys could use a little break from the charts, doing a little pep talk. So with the mental aspect, we have to be solid on our decisions. The way we get to that point is having a plan, and then we memorize that plan over and over and over until it sticks, and then we could just execute on point. And that's what I do. I have a structured plan. I have the course built out after 8 years of market experience, and it's it's the shit. I'm not gonna lie. So that's that's what the course is, and this here is just us analyzing using what we learn and what's provided in the course, and it allows us to be quick and have conviction. Some people, they want to be quick before they get the conviction, which is it's a recipe for disaster, right? You want to learn the form, make sure you understand the candlesticks, you understand, is this really about to go up, or is this more telling us it's going to go down? And then how to plan for risks, how to know when to take a profit, how to know how to catch these opportunities every single day or every single week, and to just not feel like you're guessing, and to know you're making actual progress, right? So these are the things that we focus on inside the chart, inside the course. And we're going to go back to the chart, right? um this is Baba. I feel like Baba is one of those that just loves to have big moves whenever there's big news. This is a Chinese stock, right? Alibaba. We just going to analyze what's going on here really quick. I see a big move up, and then we had a move down. Big move up. We had a nice move down. We respected this as support before we had this move up, and now we're having to move down lower than that. So this is a lower high than this one, right? Lower high, which created this lower low than that one. But this is still a uptrend, and this is the previous support. This is previous trend line, which we could come back down to hit. But if we're keeping it simple, this is the previous resistance. About 120, we're in that area where we could see a move back up. But on the overall scale, you know, we do have this um close up at the top. So technically this 105 range area is where we're looking at support. And we also have this area at 125 where we could head up and so 125 and then 105. This is a great zone for Alibaba. All right, why is Alibaba so good? We could take a look and just zoom out a little bit, because this thing used to cost $319, and we're looking at $130. This is on sale, guys. This is a good one. That is people got to buy stuff and start businesses, and Alibaba has been doing a great job. So let's take a look at what else we got. APLD. This is one that I really wanted to keep on my list, because the way that it moved up recently is wild, right? Look at this, from like $1 and some change all the way up to $42 within like 4 months, 5 months ish. But because if you just take this big old thing off, right, we could see we have a lot of levels on this monthly chart, right? I could just go ahead and just grab one of these and just draw APLD 34, 27, 19. All right. And then we also have this one down there, 11. So the market could come down to any of these areas, including right here. Even, 11 is a possibility. So we can't rule anything out. But we could expect some like small bounces along the way, even if it does come down even lower. But we have some space until it gets to this EMA, which is at about like that $23 area. So APLD is looking bearish at the moment. But I like the way that it moves due to this huge move up that we had recently. So this is good for day traders. If you look at the lower time frame, we could just take a look at how it moves day to day. It is respecting its 50 EMA. That's why I like to have it on the chart. You can see that's resistance. You can see that's resistance. And anytime it hit that, it let us know that the price is coming on down. You can take a look at the volume, which is pretty high. Notice how it's increasing and telling us the pressure is to the downside. So, like I said, this is one I could see going down to about 23. It's at about 25 right now. So if you want to take advantage of that, then learn how to trade put options. And as it's going down, it could make money. Next up, Circle went crazy. Circle went crazy this entire week and last week. Went from about $64 up to $110 in a week. So this is like a crypto situation. And wow, they was as low as $47 last month. So doubled. And if you trade the options, it would have, most likely more than doubled. All right, we're gonna just zoom out. I want to get a good understanding of Circle. It's a rather new stock. Let me clear this and delete that. All right, well, this is a Fibonacci, right? Fibonacci lets us know what's the nature. It's like nature's levels, right? Everyone wants to know where's the stock likely to bounce. Nature says when we draw the measurements of a wave starting from the bottom of this all-time low at one point, because this is where we started, and then it pushed all the way up to this all-time high. The low was about $60 up to 298, almost 300. So nature just says whenever we get to the 618, right? What does that mean? So 50% of this move is halfway, right? Since we went up, if we come down 50%, then this will be the level. All right, 50%. So it's already marked off. It's saying 182 is that level. Nature says 61.8% is that level, right? This is a tree, right? That's nature. Nature says 618 is the natural level where stock should bounce at after making some crazy move up. And when it comes down, it should bounce here. And that's a natural move. So 618 is a very interesting level, right? It likes to be respected. So that's why you could see the market didn't respect it on the move down, but when it came back up, it respected it as resistance, which is another way you could use the Fibonacci 618 level. And then it actually it came all the way down to support 100%. That's why it bounced, and then it went underneath. And then now that is what created this insane move back up from 49 up to about 103 in just a month. So we also see we have this 50 EMA, this yellow line holding up as resistance at the moment. So this is the weekly chart. You've seen it work on a 4 hour. You've seen it work on a 15. It doesn't matter what the market is. It doesn't matter what time frame you're using. The moving averages, they work because they're based off of the price itself. And it's up to us to understand the right market conditions to use them, right? Because I wouldn't use a knife to stir some milk. I mean, you could, but it's like, what? And then it's like, why would you do that? And then I wouldn't use a spoon to cut a steak, right? Good tools, but you gotta know when to use them. And that's the whole thingamajig. But let's see. Anybody want me to look at any particular stocks? Just let me know. I'll flip the camera on y'all. But let me know if you guys got any questions, because we got some answers for some things. And everything else, you're gonna have to go to God. All right, so Eli Lilly, we're gonna talk about that one coming up next. Let's see. AVGO, maybe Apple, maybe Google. MSTR, and I think that's it. Maybe VST because it's an energy stock, and energy is a big thing right now. It's been moving up and down. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look and look at VST. It's an energy stock, Vistra. And had a high of 219 and it's sitting at 159, 158. We're just going to clear this out because it's a lot of lines. This is a lot of lines, buddy. All right. Computer is acting up a little bit. It says, nah, we're not going to spend time with these drawings. We're just going to go straight to it. So I could see that we at this 50 EMA, which is a yellow line. The easiest way to understand what the trend is right now, we can see that it's just sitting there, which is telling me we're ranging. The price is just sideways, right? If we was above, we bullish. If we was below, we're bearish. But right now, we're not. We're like neither. We're just figuring life out, right? Is having a midlife crisis. It was up, has its lows and its highs, and now it's just like, man, where should I go next? Because I'm exhausted, and it just needs to refuel on energy. Get a few perspectives in life sorted out, and then it's gonna make a move up or down. And you got to use lower time frames in order to get a good understanding of which way it could go and how you can make money and how you can manage your risk around that. So Hood is a crazy one. Nvidia is always a good one. Just a quick update on Nvidia. You got to click Nvidia. Nvidia is like, it's like, how you gonna just not say hi? All right, so 212 is the high. We at 177, still above the 50 EMA, so we're bullish on the weekly time frame. It's kind of starting like a flag formation, but the volume is pretty low. And we did make this crazy rally up from like $80 up to 212, which is like triple the price, but it is Nvidia, so can't be mad at it. But at the same time, it's the physics of the stock market which tells us we could pull back in price, and the price is separate from the company, right? The company could do well, and the stock price could drop, and the company could be shitty, and the stock price could go up a lot. So, just because the Nvidia price goes down doesn't necessarily mean the company itself isn't doing well. So, we got to separate our perception of certain perceptions and realize price could do anything, regardless of what we think. We just follow patterns and bet on us executing properly. And of course, there's more to that, but that's the simplified version. Let's see. Any stocks you guys are interested in, drop it below. We did say we want to take a look at Eli Lilly. It's at 99, 999, no, 990 with 33 cents. 33 cents. All right. So what am I looking at here? I could see this big move on up, and then we had some squiggly action for a little bit before we decided to have a nice move on up again, which is actually starting some squiggly action again, which it gave us this little fake move down, which could be just a fake move before the next push up. At the same time, we do have this EMA at about like 914 that could be tested. This previous resistance was actually also used as support. So technically, it doesn't need to come to this 50 EMA because it got its support level from here. Valid. 990 is actually a really good price, especially uh, taking a look at how this rallied up with some real volume. So it's telling us it's a real move. And for the length of time that it's up there, I mean, it's been doing pretty good, especially consideration all the time it's been here, right? Like what you guys been doing, what you guys been strategizing, right? And you told on yourself. You told us what you've been strategizing. You've been strategizing this move on up. So you guys are protecting this area, right? That's something that we could form. That's a understanding that we could form on Eli Lilly. This is what we're analyzing for anyone new. This is the weekly chart. All right. So this is a move on up from 2023. There's a lot of activity over the years, right? Until 3 years later, we sitting here at 990 down here was about $300, $400. So this was a huge move on up to this $900 area. So we did crack that 1,000. And then ever since then, it did dip below to 990, the lowest in the last few months. But 1,000 is a very popular number. There's gonna be a lot of orders in this area. So even if it wants to go higher, I believe that the price naturally wants to spend some time to sort through some of these orders at 1,000 before any moves on up. And you can see the nature in this flag pattern, how that is showing it, and then also this previous resistance that is turning into support right there right now, or last week. You could see that happen. It looks great. It has a lot of reasons to move on up, especially as the market moves down. People like to put money into health. It's the one of the number one health stocks. I believe XLK, that is the health sector. If you guys want to look at that. So next up, who we got? Quantum is a good sector. Okay, let's look at MSTR. This is more the Bitcoin, the Bitcoiners. So this guy, he bought like billions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin does good, the stock looks amazing. But if Bitcoin doesn't do so good, the stock is like trash. But it's like an amplified version of Bitcoin. So if it does trash on Bitcoin, then it's gonna do super trash on this stock. But if Bitcoin does really, really well, this stock does really, really, really well. So looking at where it started from about $100 and some change all the way up to $500 in the matter of a few months, a few weeks. Insane, right? And then it took everyone for a roller coaster back down to about 200 and back up to 450. And now we back down to 133. Now you guys can see I have this pretty level drawn. This is a demand zone. This is what I teach in my course to understand where the price is likely to bounce. Right, it works on any time frame, works on any market. Why? Because the market moves off of supply and demand. So this is where we got it from, and the market tickled on down until it got to this area, and it had some nice bounces up when you take a look at the lower time frame. So we're gonna move down to the 4 hour. From the weekly candles to the 4 hour, this is gonna give us a good picture. Weekly candle, so it definitely dipped under, but notice how fast it came down and it instantly came up just as fast. squiggle around a little bit, and then had a nice push on up. So it's doing a little bit of wiggling, but within these wiggles, they are some very strong moves, right? So this is not like small moves. This is 133 to 148 in the options world. Yeah, just even $2, $1 could give you 20, 40% and could give you 100% on certain days when the expiration gets a little bit close. So let's check on the YouTubers. Kind of left you guys hanging. All right, cool. Just wanted to check on the YouTubers. All right, so Monster MicroStrategy, it dipped down. Let's see what the SPY is doing. I'm not sure if the SPY is open, but I think that's a sign that it's time to skedaddle, man. I think we did a good job. We looked at what we need to look at. We're gonna do some more live streams, right? Just to let you guys get a little insight on what's going on under this hat, right? It's more than just a bald head going on under this hat. And it's getting warm, so I might not even need it anymore. But yeah, man, we're gonna end this live stream, and the playback will be on my YouTube channel. Just type in Trading with the Cam, and the course is available. If you guys want to understand it from a basic level, just get some beginner course. If you guys want to know the analytical side, then you could get a novice level, and then if you want the whole thing, strategies, options, everything understood, there's an elite level. So just send me a DM, and then we got the community as well. Every day market plays. So we got a few people making profits in the profit channel. So I'm gonna just flip that. This is Prince, $300 on Amazon calls. Marvin with 2K on Tesla. Tony with $94 up on the day. Yes, indeed. All right. So this is where we will go to for some trading tips. You guys got a free book in here as soon as you come on in. Beginner basics. So this is free. This side of the community is free, but if you want access to the market plays that I'm continuously calling out, this was Tesla in a downtrend, and this was before the close Friday. So we'll check in on Tesla, see how it's doing. Apple. These are all some stocks that we just continuously call out to make sure everyone knows what's going on. The watch list, and you got some news, and you got everything that you need without too much fluff. So that's the name of the game. We just keep it straight to the point. All right, guys. So I'm gonna see you in the next one. Holla at you in the next video. All right. Peace.